A very good evening. Welcome. This is Saturday's edition of Primetime News, where we're coming to you live and direct this evening from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. And I'm Joel Outskoon. We'll start off tonight with a look at our headlines.
State Minister Harsha De Silva admits corruption from top to bottom in government. Complains of corruption even when procuring potted plants for his ministry. Duminda Dissanayake confesses of the government's inability. Mahinda Rajapaksa responds to the expose made by the New York Times. Newsfirst.lk named overall winner of Best Web 2018. Rishad Batiuddin issues warning to the government.
Well, those are the headlines for tonight. Let's start off with our lead story. Now, day 2 of the Dr. Saman Kalagama Memorial Conference was held in Colombo today. Speaking at a panel discussion attended by both local and foreign experts in the field of economics, State Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs Dr. Harsha De Silva commented on the state of corruption within the government of Sri Lanka.
You were worried about corruption and bribery in the country. That is actually the #1 reason for dragging down competitiveness in our country. I wonder what happened to your effort and whether you pursued and did anything about that.
That is, to me, one of the biggest problems that we have. I mean, investors, immaterial of what they want to, invest in, sometimes are asked to pay bribes. They have to, sometimes it's not worth the investment because the amount of money that has to be given to various politicians and officials would amount to several years of profit. So therefore they go away. I mean, people don't talk about it openly, but corruption is here in this country from the top to the bottom. Somebody was telling me it took those people 3 years to get permits to build a hotel in some, beautiful place somewhere on the coast. Why should it take 3 years to get all the permits? So unless we sort of, finish this cancer, and I don't know whether we are, going anywhere with it. At least it is now out in the open with the right to information legislation. People have now got so much of, or they are empowered. They can ask questions from politicians. This is a country where the Prime Minister can be asked to come and give evidence at a commission. This is a country now where ministers have lost their jobs because of accusations of taking money from people. When did this happen in this country before? You see, you have to have that mindset. You have an administrative service person and you ask that person to ensure delivery. I was just complaining this morning that I'm trying to get my ministry officials to pay for a plant. What do you call these little plants? Potted plants. It took 1 month for them to procure 3 plotted plants. And even after 1 month, they said they couldn't get 3 codes. So I called them, I said, go on the net, here on my phone, here is a list, why don't you do it? Right? So
quality of the plants must have been the best in the world.
No. Now what has happened is, those plants have died. And I keep complaining, why don't you replace these plants? They said, no, we can't replace the plants because we haven't paid them. Why haven't you paid them? Because it was single sourced. I said, I didn't single source it. You single sourced it. I gave you 3 options.
Well, indeed, some interesting comments coming out. Moving on, Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development Vijay Munisosa called on the Mahanayaka of the Malwadu chapter, the most venerable Tibbatu Avesh Sumangala Thero.
The minister briefed the Mahanayaka Thero on the development work carried out by him when serving as the Minister of Irrigation. Our correspondent said the minister presented a booklet to the Mahanayaka on the development programs that were carried out. Views were expressed on the new portfolio given to the minister. That is true. It does not suit Buddhists. I must accept what was given to me. The Christian ministry was given to Alavihare.
Up next is The Voice of the People, a segment that highlights the people's issues that have gone unheard by those responsible.
Voice of the People. News from across the nation, reported by Newsfirst regional correspondents.
Farmers in the Madirigiri Divisional Secretariat warn that over 100 acres of paddyland in the Godapotta and Unakatuwa areas are at risk of being destroyed. They point out the insufficient amount of water being supplied to their paddylands as the reason to this issue. Usually, the farmers would cultivate around 650 acres of paddyland. However, this time around, they could only use 124 acres of land as the water sources had dried up. Farmers lament, though it's been a month since they sowed the seeds, they have not been able to provide sufficient water for their cultivations. How are we to feed our children? How are we to keep any hope on next season? Until now, we have not been provided with even a drop of water. We depend on these cultivations. We have no other means of survival. This is the Kandavatta Pamula housing complex in Mutwal. Following the devastating tsunami, 28 displaced families were settled in this housing complex. However, this is the present state of the complex. The residents point out the wastewater system for the complex had overflowed and it has not been repaired.
I live in the ground floor and water comes into the houses on most occasions. The poor people are living in this building without even the basic facilities. Though we go and meet officials, no one gives an ear to these issues.
Voice of the People. News from across the nation, reported by Newsfirst regional correspondents.
Newsfirst.lk won the gold medal for the best Sri Lankan website for the year 2018 at the bestweb.lk awards. Newsfirst.lk picked up a total of 2 golds for 2018.
For the first time in the awards history, a news website was selected as the best website in Sri Lanka. Newsfirst.lk also picked up a second gold medal for the best media website. RTIWatch.lk, which provides the public with a platform to obtain information through the Right to Information Act, won the silver in the overall category, while the corporate website of Laughs Holdings Limited, www.laughs.lk, picked up the bronze in the overall category. RTI also won gold in the non-profit category, while Laughs Holdings Limited won gold in the corporate category. The Gold Award for Best Web Developer was won by 3CS Asia Private Limited. The Sri Lanka Air Force website, airforce.lk, was adjudged the gold winner in the Best Government Website category, while the Sri Lanka Navy website, navy.lk, picked up the award for the most popular government website. The Best Web.lk Awards is organized by the LK Domain Registry together with the Moratuwa University. Best Web.lk judges website on a number of categories including technicality, design, content and interaction. The winners are chosen by an elite panel of judges consisting of ICT industry experts, academics, professionals and business leaders.
MPs and ministers from the government and the opposition commented the expose made by the New York Times.
New York Times පුවත්පත නිකන් දාලා නැහැ. ඒකේ දුන්න චෙක් පත්වල විස්තර.
The New York Times would not publish anything without reason. The article reveals details of cash checks to which bank it went and to whose name it was deposited. It also states the amount given to a monk. The FCID and the CID have not been able to uncover these details, but the New York Times managed to uncover the details. It took years for the Attorney General's department to look at the flaws. Yet they have exposed this after taking into account all the legal matters. Mahinda Rajapaksa is a president. There is no point in a former president making statements at every corner.
And Rajitha Senaratne මහත්මයා කිව්වා ඩොලර් බිලියන 18.
Minister Rajitha Senaratne said he saw $18 billion in an account with his very own eyes. Chatura Senaratne said he saw the money being counted with his very own eyes. Over the past 3 years, such allegations were made.
විටින් විට ඉදිරිපත් කරා.
Until today, Mahinda Rajapaksa has not responded to this. He is gathering his henchmen and making other statements at several places. He must clearly state where the government funds were used for this. When the tsunami struck the country, aid flowed in, and when he was involved, the funds were deposited to the Helping Hand Mantra account. The entire world is aware of this. I believe he used his presidential powers to conceal the details. This is being said only after 3 years. They never said like that before. Have they proven any of the things mentioned before? The New York Times is an international paper. Our local newspapers publish a lot of lies. They are following this process after 3 years because they want to put down Mahinda Rajapaksa. We challenge them to prove this, as we did with the bond scam.
Mahinda Rajapaksa ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඩොලර් මිලියන 7.6ක් China.
It is reported that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa had obtained $7.6 million from a Chinese company. Where are the golden stallions? Where are the Lamborghini cars of Namal Rajapaksa? Where is the $18 million that Rajitha Senaratne is said to have seen in a bank in Dubai with his very own eyes? The central bank theft has been proven by COPE and the Presidential Commission. How many masterminds on the matter have been arrested? There is Aloysius and Kasun Palisena, but has a statement been recorded from the Prime Minister, who is said to have given the instructions? What has happened to Arjuna Mahendran? What have they done now? They have launched a plan against me using a newspaper. There is only 18 billion on me. I told them to look at the banks and the accounts, and I will sign it for them if required. As I said before, if they manage to prove that, I will slit my throat. It is not something difficult for me. They are still searching for things.
Convener of the Left Centre, Chamira Pereira, says at this moment, one must accept their wrongs and authorities must impose punishment on those accountable and simply not speak of the wrongs of others.
There is much discussion about the sum of money given to Mahinda Rajapaksa by a Chinese company. This is mostly being discussed by all those who were accused of the central bank bond scam in the past. It is something new for them. They are speaking very much about the $7.6 million. Even if a red cent was looted from the people, it must be investigated and punishments need to be imposed. The central bank bond scam has already been investigated. That is a massive financial fraud. A report was released on that fraud. The perpetrators have been identified. The process of punishing them must be completed.
Minister Duminda Dissanayake commented on the New York Times expose at the government's inability on certain matters.
Most of the matters mentioned in the article are true. I too was given a clock. If a large sum of money was given by the same institution that was constructing the port aimed at the election, that can be viewed as a bribe. Government authorities have a responsibility of inquiring into these matters. There is a certain degree of truth to that. It is not because of the inability. We had an idea of carrying out work based on a consensual understanding. We have that vision. If some were not prepared to do that, we could not waste time. There is a need to do so. The people of this country did not give power to President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to form a national government and to remain just idle. The people were hoping for reforms and they hope it would be done before the elections.
On to an interesting note, Minister Rishad Badruddin has requested the government not to repeat the mistakes of the previous government. When the General Secretary of the SLFP came forward as the presidential candidate to form a government good governance with the UMP leader for the post of Prime Minister, I placed my faith on both and supported them. But when we look at certain matters, we feel very disappointed. Are they thinking about their parties or about the country? I wish to tell both these leaders, please do not repeat the mistakes done by the previous government. Do not ruin the economy of the people. Fulfill your mandate. If you fail to do so, the people will teach you a lesson.
The minister also commented on the previous government.
Some people involved in contracts took up the task of creating disharmony among the Sinhala and Muslim communities. It was asked to be stopped. The former Defence Secretary, who is coming forward as a presidential candidate, is moving to Galle to do the same thing. I told Mahinda Rajapaksa, please do not allow Gotabaya Rajapaksa to do this. He phoned the Defence Secretary in my presence and said that Rishad Badruddin is requesting that you not proceed. But he did not accept it. He went and opened the destruction. It was because of that his government was sent home. A seminar organized by the Rata Rakina Janapawara organization was held at the Kandy Postal Complex Auditorium yesterday, where comments were made on the present political situation.
Jayampati Vikramaratne was made chief of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution for the needs of Ranil Wickramasinghe. They have brought it up again so that queries on the central bank thief Arjuna Mahendran will be silenced. They brought it up so that they can cover up the loss suffered from the local government election. Lal Kanda says there appears to be many shortcomings in that. Anuru Kumar says he is pleased with the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. They are portraying the executive as a demon, and that is why they need to abolish the executive presidency via the 20th Amendment. There is no such demon. There was the 18th and 19th Amendments to the Constitution. This is why the presidents have been made helpless. Parliament needs to be dissolved but cannot be done so. The Prime Minister needs to be removed but it cannot be done so. The motion of no confidence was presented and the bond money and all the other money was used to undermine that. With the execution of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, the 13th Amendment will be in effect as a whole and separately across the provinces. Since there is an executive presidency, it will benefit national reconciliation. The country is governed by a Prime Minister who does not command a majority. You are aware there is a serious controversy in the country. From the bond scam to the sale of the Hambantota port to the excessive taxes imposed on the people, everything was steered from temple trees. The President is attempting to move the country into a certain position. The President cannot remove ministers and appoint new ministers as usual. He needs the Prime Minister's approval. The leader, chairman, secretary, assistant leader and others have been accused of the bomb scam. The details were revealed at the Presidential Commission. The President wanted to make changes, but he could not do so. Before we enter into the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, we need to understand its content.
Serious anomalies in the exact debt position of the country has come to light with the release of the Central Bank Annual Report and the Ministry of Finance Annual Report.
Our growth rate increased by 0.5. See, for us, I have already done this calculation.
Yes.
When the public number, 2018 first quarter, 2,223 billion, and when the compare with their figure
for 2017,
increase was 3.2.
Right.
But the correct figure. But the correct figure
is the 2018 first quarter value is as stated by the Central Bank website. 2,223,856, and the correct value for 2017, the first quarter, is 2,164,477, a difference of 59,109, and the growth then would be
2.7% only.
2.7.
The 2017 Central Bank Annual Report indicates that the debt to GDP ratio stands at 77%. However, the Ministry of Finance annual report carries a statement from the Auditor General that states the actual debt position is not as stated. The Auditor General states that the total debt is 10,702 billion and not 10,313 billion rupees as stated by the Ministry of Finance. The Auditor General states that the debt to GDP ratio is 81%. The difference in rupee terms is 389 billion or about 2.5 billion US dollars. On Wednesday, Minister Lakshman Kiryal hinted the statistics put forward are from the central bank.
The statistics put forward by the government are provided by the central bank. They are data obtained by the central bank. The government provides data provided by the central bank.
However, it must be noted statistics in the country are always prepared by the Department of Census and Statistics. And this department directly falls within the ambit of the Ministry of National Policies and Economic Affairs, which is the ministry given to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Activists question if the figures in the reports have been changed on the insistence of the Prime Minister, just as he insisted former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran to follow a full auction system at the 2015 Treasury bond auction. The people insist on the truth.
Well, the chief suspect of the Central Bank Treasury bond scam, Arjuna Mahendran, is still at large. Let's have a look at the recommendations made by the Bond Commission on action against Mahendran and those involved.
The Presidential Commission determined the government of Sri Lanka suffered an avoidable loss of over 688 million rupees as direct result of Arjuna Mahendran's intervention in the bond auction on the 27th of February 2015. The Commission held Arjuna Mahendran liable and responsible for this loss. The Commission also determined Mahendran's direction to accept bids to the value of 10.058 billion rupees be accepted was improper, wrongful and mala fide for the collateral purpose of enabling Perpetual Treasuries Limited to obtain a high value of T-bonds at the auction. It added, Mahendran provided inside information to PTL and acted in collusion with PTL. The Commission recommended that appropriate proceedings are instituted against Mahendran to recover this loss. The Commission recommended that appropriate proceedings are also instituted against Perpetual Treasuries Limited for the recovery of this loss of over 688 million rupees. The Commission went on to note that in the event of a conviction being entered by a learned magistrate after summary trial in such a prosecution, a fine, which is twice the value of 688 million, must be imposed on PTL. The beneficial owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, and its CEO, Kasunpali Sena, were arrested and remanded over this treasury bond scam. However, former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran, as well as those who are alleged to be behind this scam, are still scot-free. The people insist on the truth.
Shifting to the game of cricket, the veteran cricketer Roshan Mahanam expressed his views on the current situation of Sri Lanka cricket at an event held at the SOS Tsunami Village.
Unfortunately today, there is no proper body to control cricket. The players must be motivated amongst the challenging times in order to showcase their talent. But I think the necessary arrangements are not met by the cricket administrators, as we heard more grievances rather than achievements in the past few years.
Journalists questioned the former captain on his rejection of a call by the sports minister to join Sri Lanka cricket as a consultant.
I am standing on both my feet thanks to cricket. We are being blamed for not stepping up. We don't have an honest environment to step forward. And I won't step forward for temporary solutions. And also, I don't want to keep my neck onto a moving train. The minister must see that who are the individuals who were in these chairs for the past 12 years. And he must decide whether those individuals serve the sport and whether they deserve to be on those chairs. Finally, I cannot see a solution unless the President and the Prime Minister of the country steps up and provide a solution to this issue.
Meanwhile, Minister of Sports Faiza Mustafa expressed these views at a press conference held at Sri Lanka Cricket.
Soon as I was appointed sports minister, I requested some of our former senior players to advise us on the sport, but they rejected due to various reasons. Our former players are national treasures. Technical support is what we needed the most. Work with the proposals I've been given. Do not involve with me if I have done anything wrong. These people are denying to work alongside me due to previous officials' misconducts. Work with genuine intention, or else step down if I have any mistake on my part.
Professor Rohan Lakshman Piyadasa, the General Secretary of the SLFP, speaking at the Katukale Jumma Mosque in Kandy, commented on the party's stance in the provincial council polls.
රජයෙන් ඉවත්තු 16 දෙනායි කණ්ඩායම දිගින් දිගටම සඳහන් කරනවා ඔවුන් මේ ඉදිරියට සහාය දෙන්න පොහොට්ටු පක්ෂයට කියලා. ඔබතුමා ලේකම්තුමා වශයෙන් මේ සම්බන්ධ විනය පියවරක් ගන්න නැද්ද?
නැහැ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ තාමත් ඒ අය ඉන්නවා.
No, they continue to remain with the party and they are SLFP members. The Flower Bud is not a party, it is a group. They are in the Central Working Committee. With the leadership of SLFP leader President Maithripala Sirisena, the Central Working Committee decision would be on putting forward a candidate for the 2020 polls, who will not only give leadership to the SLFP, but to the UPFA as well.
පිළිගන්න නායකයෙක් අපි අපේක්ෂකයෙක් අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා.
ඉදිරි පළාත් පාලන මැතිවරණ කොයි ආකාරයෙන්
ඉදිරි පළාත් පාලන මැතිවරණය
Our view is the provincial council elections need to be held. We have made a request from the chairman of the Elections Commission. We call for the polls to be held as soon as possible, but the others did not speak up. We requested to make a pledge on a document. The chairman of the Elections Commission also noted the SLFP had put forward a proposal. It was only discussed.
ඒක කතා බහට ලක් වුණා විතරයි. මේ
ඔතුලා ඉල්ලන්නේ කොයි ආකාරයෙන් පැවැත්වුවේ?
ඒ කියන ක්‍රමය
Parliaments must decide on the system. We will put forward proposals. What we request is for the election to be held as soon as possible.
තියන්නේ කියලා අපි යෝජනා කරා.
Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amarveera had written to Speaker Khadu Jayasuriya requesting the old building in which the ministry was located at be returned.
The letter notes maintaining the Ministry of Agriculture at the DPJ Tower in Rajgiriya while paying a monthly rent of 21 million rupees is a waste of public money. The Govijana Mandire in Battaramulla, in which the ministry was situated, was allocated to the parliamentary committees and office space based on the cabinet proposal put forward by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 19th of February 2016. The Economic Management Committee, which is chaired by the Prime Minister at the time, had decided to move the Ministry of Agriculture to this building, which is owned by the husband of a popular actress, for a period of 5 years, paying an amount over the estimate given by the Department of Valuation. Since April 2016, the Ministry of Agriculture had paid a monthly rent of 21 million rupees for this building. What is amusing is that the Ministry of Agriculture was only moved to this building in February. For more than a period of 2 years, over 420 million rupees had been paid as rent for this building, even when the ministry was not situated in the premises. One would question, would the Prime Minister bear responsibility for the public funds that had gone to waste? Upon our inquiry, a spokesperson in Parliament noted though the Govijana Mandire was allocated for the parliamentary committee and office space until now, not a single meeting had taken place at the premises. The Auditor General at the time, AHLM Abanwala, pointed out that a large amount of money was wasted when obtaining this building on rent. The Parliamentary Accounts Committee was summoned on the 7th of April 2016. It was clearly stated fraud had taken place. The Ministry Secretary signed the agreement on the 8th of April 2016. 21 million rupees was paid as rent per month and 540 million rupees was paid as advance for 24 months. I stress the payments were illegal. The total loss from this deal was 1,855 million rupees as a waste of public funds. In such a backdrop, the Minister of Agriculture has written to the Speaker requesting the Govijana Mandire be given back to the ministry. However, a spokesperson in Parliament said as the building was given following cabinet approval, a return would also require cabinet approval. The ministry notes the relevant documents on the agreement reached for this building are not with them. According to the agreement, the monthly rent must be raised by 15% after 3 years, and thereby from 2019, the monthly rent for the building would be 27 million rupees. As mentioned by the minister, if the ministry was constructed on state-owned land, would it not be more beneficial? If 1,855 million rupees is spent on this building alone for 5 years, how much would remain to serve the country?
President Maithripala Sirisena has stressed he would provide all facilities required to uplift Dham education. The President made this statement while speaking at the Tissamaharama Udakandara Puran Rajma Viharya this evening.
The event was organized to award Venerable Denagama Dhammadasithero the title of the Saddharma Kirti Sri Revata Honour and the Deputy Chief Sanganayaka post of the Ruhunamagam Patto of the Malwata chapter. The President also placed the golden post for the golden fence that will be placed at the Vihara premises. The Ranasinghe Premadasa Memorial Building, constructed at a cost of 2.5 million rupees under the Sasanota Aruna program with personal funds from Minister Sajit Premadasa, who is also the Deputy Leader of the United National Party. The President's media unit said the title deed for the Vihara was also handed over to Venerable Denagama Dhammadasithero. I am pleased to visit this place and witness the construction of this Dhamma school constructed by Minister Sajith Premadasa in memory of his father. The Most Venerable Thero noted around 600 children come here for Dhamma education. As a society, this is something we can be happy about. In a commercial and competitive society, we must always strengthen the temples and viharas to build a better moral society. President Maithripala Sirisena has always instructed us to practically use our Buddhist nature. He has instructed us to work towards supporting the temple that lacks the facilities. Humbly following these orders, today we have begun the construction of chaityas across 25 districts in the country. Venerable Denagama Dhammadasi Thero presented a memento to President Maithripala Sirisena.
Newsfirst College defeated Gateway College to clinch the Marumiusia's Rohini Alas Challenge Trophy netball encounter played this afternoon. The Marumiusia's Rohini Alas Challenge Trophy netball encounter got underway at the Royal College Sports Complex. The game worked off for the very first time saw the Museites clinching victory 27-25. A number of friendly games too were played on the sidelines of this event. Well, that's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News. More follows on our award-winning website, www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Joel Outskun. Take care. Good night. God bless you.